So yes, it did quite shock me. Makes you wonder, kind of hits you right in the head hard, really hard. Makes you kind of wonder what's going on here. Wow, you know, nobody is really paying attention to this. Clearly the greatest disaster that's ever hit the earth. Does boggle the mind quite a bit. Uh, it really does. In the beginning, obviously there was Kevin. I didn't catch him right away. Ratchet was probably the first that I saw, and Miss Funky the Clown. John and Chrissy were pretty amazing, and no matter what anyone says, they were kind of the leaders in the beginning of this. I was involved in Occupy, and let them know about it. Occupy, you know, did a really good job in the beginning of showing people, especially the Western world, that we're really no different than anyone else in the Middle East or anywhere else. Maybe they don't quite come out and shoot you in the head or torture the shit out of you after they got you in prison, but they do beat the shit out of you and arrest you and don't charge you. And those Western governments, all Western governments, are quite hypocritical in what they were saying as far as the Middle East and how they dealt with their own citizens. But Occupy was an eye opener for people. They did a wonderful job. They're amazing people. Uh, but they wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole, which was very, very shocking and surprising, and made me really wonder, you know, what their agenda really was. Because there is nothing worse than some planet happening, no matter what anyone says. It makes everything else irrelevant. And we really could have let a whole lot more people know if they had decided to open up about this. And unfortunately, they decided not to. And it was a really huge mistake on their part. Could have saved millions of lives. Those Japanese that ran around taking Geiger counters, they saved, you know, whole towns of people. Uh, this isn't something that's to scoff at or that is, you know, a minor thing like they would like to let you believe. Uh, Chernobyl was a big eye opener, and 3 Mile Island before that. Uh, you know, the proof's in the pudding. There's not much you can really say about this other than that, you know, a lot of people are going to die, and the UN was silent. Politicians all over the world, all governments, they may have said something, but it wasn't getting put out. You had to really, really, really look for it. You know, we've had a lot of people come in lately, coming late into the picture. That have done a wonderful job. I think they're great. I mean, I'm glad they're taking over because some of us are pretty tired after doing this for almost 3 years. So it's nice to see guys like Dana and you know, the bear was kind of always been around, but he's still going. Uh, Kevin is amazing. Miss needs you know, she's done a lot. She's done enough. And Chrissy's, and no matter what anyone says, these people paid some sort of a price. I don't want to quantify it, but everybody who spoke out about this definitely has paid the price in this fashion. And you know, it's nice to see guys like Tom, and you know, he's done a wonderful job. I really am quite impressed with what he's doing in the arts. We need that. Of course, when this came over to the West Coast, we had basically at least 3 folklore meltdowns, and that doesn't include 2 yet. I was in trouble at the time, but we also had 3 full Snowfield was on fire, which, you know, that was pretty came over, that was the big walk, you know, it came out to see and went back and went into Japan, and then it came back out and went out across towards the west coast and made its way towards Canada and the United States. And in the beginning it was raining in most of those areas. It rained, at least as far as I know, in Canada and the west coast in Canada. It rained up to most of BC and Alberta, so they brought it down there. And it stopped in Saskatchewan just before the Saskatchewan border, and it started up again just before it headed into Ontario and Quebec. And of course, all those lower upper states, you might say, Montana, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, etc., Chicago, Wisconsin, they all got heavily read. Spokane, of course, Washington, Oregon, California. There was another track that came in and went that route through Nevada, Utah, Colorado. Seemed to, at the time, we thought it got the most. Looks like Oklahoma got really hit hard. So, and even if it didn't rain, you know, we still got followed, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it rained. Because that was the idea when these things happen, is to bring it down and push up what they can. Connecting the dots, did a great job in the beginning. You know, clearly there was, you know, about 72,000 fatal deaths in just two cities alone, Philadelphia and Vancouver. That was put out by mainstream and taken down immediately. That's kind of what caught my eye in the thing here, and that's kind of what I was doing, was trying to keep track of all the videos that were being put out to see what was getting erased and taken down and what wasn't, because this was a really important issue and people's lives were at stake. And yeah, everybody could make videos if they wanted to, but there were so many coming out at the time. It was just more important to, in my opinion, to keep track of what was missing, what was going to go missing. And we certainly had a few of those. There was a reaction that happened in a while back. Just a few pieces that were hanging around inside there. This is way after the fact. 2.5 years after, actually. They fissioned there, so that was caught on camera, and of course that person was removed, and not stuff was taken down, but he had backups for everything. And, you know, you can watch for all up to see, and there's been some really good shots. That's all we have. Was always we knew right away around the 15th that things were dry. The FOIA documents came out, you know, told us, hey, that's actually happening. Patrick Henry covered the FOIA documents. He was extremely annoying in the beginning because he could barely get a sentence out without going off into a rant for a good 15 minutes, so it's really hard to get through them all with him in the beginning. Eventually he got better, and eventually you realized that you needed to get it all done into a book, which was good. Unfortunately, I like Patrick. I think he's good. I just think, you know, wondered, was Alex Jones part of the thing about him and bringing up stuff, and I realized he really apparently didn't have anything to do with it, but there's no point in really putting videos on it. You can just keep it in your house, and the personal would be a much better thing to do, especially when someone's lost a family member. I'm not a fan of Gunderson. I will talk about him in a minute here, and the only reason why, but he still did good stuff. In the beginning we didn't have a whole lot, you know. But it's interesting, you know, and the reason I put up a video is that at least put it into my playlist is because I noticed probably about the same time he did that we've been following a lot of people and hoping that these guys could make some sort of a difference, and it was becoming obvious to at least me and someone else at least that wasn't really happening. These people weren't who they said they were going to be.